holiday to celebrate workers. It's May 1, May Day. And there's a lot surrounding the celebration this year, especially in Rivers State. Well, we'll get into that later on. But first, let me tell you, today we would be looking mainly on the power situation, the power sector in Rivers State, as well as the union politics as it concerns the power sector's workers and some of the things that we're seeing happening with regards to labor in Rivers State. And this morning, to join me on that conversation is a guest that's not new to our studios in the person of Innocent Lord Douglas. He is the Regional Deputy Secretary General of the Senior Staff Association of Electricity Allied Companies. Sir, good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for giving me this platform once again.
All right. There's plenty to talk about, but before I start with the question, let me put out the very first one to those people who are listening would like to find out how often they have power in their location. In the past couple of weeks, it has not been fantastic at all. I know I've called you severally and I've said, what is going on? It's over a week, going to 2 weeks for some people. There's no power, and then people are wondering because they kind of are kept in the dark and not understanding what the progress is, what's happening. Should we expect any change? And then when people heard that at the national level, the villa thought about having a solar panel and then was going to also power the villa, and we were like, oh, then clearly this is it. This is the leaders are looking for settling their own side, and that will be it for us. So is that the case, or we should not be worried? What exactly is responsible for this blackout that we've experienced in parts of Port Harcourt metropolis for almost 2 weeks now?
As we've been saying, the discos are having limitations of energy, which supposed to get to them through the TCN, and then TCN is only going to step down available energy that is being generated from the generation company, and all these three chain of electricity supply works together. Unfortunately, you cannot give what you don't have. Some of the IPPs are also having so many issues because of lack of gas.
What kind of issues? I need you to break this down for us step by step so we understand. Now, you've said discos are not getting energy that they're supposed to get from the transmission companies. What does that mean? Is it that the transmission companies have facility problem, or what?
Yeah, we're trying to let us domicile River State.
Mm-hmm.
What we're saying in River State, we have AFAM IPP, we have OMOC. These are generation stations. We have Transamadi. We also have AFAM 1 to AFAM 6.
All of these, are they privately run?
These are power stations that are domiciled in Rivers State.
Are they privately run?
Yes, the AFAM IPP, OMOC, and the Transamadi are privately run. That's why we call them independent power. They are privately run.
Okay.
I know. And AFAM 1 to 6 part of government power station.
Okay.
And all these ones are in Rivers State. And the problem we are having with generation stations is if all these power stations will power at a time and run, we'll have enough energy that we can even give out to other states, considering the state power regulation that have been signed into law by President Tinubu. But unfortunately, as I said in my last discussion here, that these power stations are not running. They run once at a time.
They don't run together.
They don't run because they don't have gas. They don't have gas.
That's confusing. We have a lot of gas in Rivers State.
Yeah, we have a lot of gas in Rivers State that are not channeled to power, and it's expensive. I think in my last discussion, somebody asked, what is going to make power available in Rivers State or Nigeria Catch? And I said there are many, but number one, you agree with me that a month ago, we got a threat of an increase in petroleum product. And when we probe further, I discovered that the agreement signed with Dangote about the naira to crude had need to be renewed. And at the moment that got renewed, the threat was stopped And now I think petroleum products are coming down again. I think I bought at 93 naira or thereabout yesterday or thereabout. So what am I saying? If we can get naira to gas, it will help people to participate in generating energy. That is our major problem.
Okay,
that's
so the gas is being sold in dollar.
Yes, gas is being sold in dollar, and people are people that are running this thing are not able to be meeting up. Last 2 weeks, federal government said they are owing about 8 billion in electricity, and they are going to pay about 4 billion. These are all revolve about gas. Because when these people are not able to get, and federal government intervene, or federal government has to pay from the ones that that most of these paramilitary and military agencies are not paying. They are not paying. You will reflect on what happened in Lagos about a month or 2 ago, where some of our members were beaten up by soldiers because they were disconnected. Of course, the issue that happened there in Port Harcourt shouldn't also be strange. When the civil defense went into our Romola office and got our members beaten up because their supply had a fault, and then believing that they were cut off out of supply. So these are part of the assault that we get when it gets to military and paramilitary areas, and they don't pay, and they consume high energy consumption. And when you're consuming and they believe that you have to give to them, because there are priority areas like hospital, like government agencies, like all these, they are priority areas where power had to be channeled to. Yes. But when there is no gas and you have a limited energy, you must give to these people, and they are not paying. So government most times intervenes. So okay, because of all this money, like they're owing 8 billion naira. They say we are going to pay 4, and that 4 is just for gas. If you don't pay, they don't give you gas. Our gas is more lucrative being exported than given to Nigerians.
So that's why you think they focus more on getting the gas out. I thought there were conversations. I don't want this conversation to be around gas, so let's just pause it there. But I know that there've been talks about trying to reduce how much gas we export and try to satisfy the demand for the product in-house before we think about exporting. But like you said, if more money is made when it goes out, so perhaps that's also contributing to the problem. Back to Base in Rivers State. Now you've highlighted the plants. And you've said they don't work concurrently. They've always worked staggeredly, one after the other. Now the question is, at the moment, what is really the problem? Because you started with saying the TUC, the transmission company, I beg your pardon, aren't doing their job with regards to ensuring that discos get power. And if discos don't have power, there's nothing to distribute. So the parts of Port Harcourt that have power, how did they get the power sent to the discos that is now supplying? Because some parts of Port Harcourt have power, and that power must have been generated and transmitted to the discos for them to be able to give out. So how did that one work, and then the other ones are not working?
What I said, the priority areas, and again, you also know that by regulation, we also have where we call the banks. In as much as we have observed that the banks are not working as supposed to, like people in Bank A are supposed to have minimum of 18 hours per day. They are not getting up to that with our observations. All these are because of the limited energy that are being given through this TCN. And TCN also transmitting what they got from the generation station. So if the megawatt that they are getting is low, they are also transmit low to the generation distribution to distribute. But if there is a very low energy from the transmission, of course, you know that the IPP does not cover everywhere. That is independent power, and this thing does not cover everywhere in River State. There are areas that those ones are being covered. So those areas are liable to have power. And again, if you're under 33, and that is power that is taken from one substation to the other, and assuming that you are taking the supply to area like University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, which is also one of the priority areas. Anybody that falls within that line will also certainly have energy, and that is the line that people mostly mistake and say they are federal line.
I wanted to be sure, because from what you've said now, so what you're basically saying is the distribution companies are making priorities with the little power that they are getting. That's why it's not going everywhere. So it's not because there's a fault. That's why some people are not having. It's just that enough power is not being sold to the discos to distribute. Is that the case? We need to understand it, because some people felt like I'm one of those who also felt like there was a fault. Maybe something got bad, something got. Because, we can't say for over a week plus, no power in many parts of Port Harcourt, going to 2 weeks. And are we saying that is because the discos are managing the little power they get, so they have to give to priority areas and the band A areas that they feel they are going to make their monies back if they supply those people first?
Yeah, that also associated to what we are going through. Last week or 2 weeks ago, a tower of PhD was hanged down. We have been discussing about the issue of a tower being brought down by vandals. And the tower of PhD was brought down, and that tower is already being worked, and that kept supply out of Rumuosi feeder. All the people that are under Rumuosi feeder kept supply out of that.
Though the tower is still down now, they're still working on it.
I think they're still working on it. As at the time of this interview, I couldn't get to know the extent of this job. I've really not been out of town for some while now. Just came in. I've not known the extent of the job, but I'm not sure that job has been restored. And outside that, before I traveled, they were having pocket of issues like breaking of cables, and that's from the generation aspect of it. I think that's have been restored. The issue in Elela Limini, I also got the information that has also been restored. But I think we also had the issue of punctured cable along Z4. I don't know if that has been restored. So these are pocket of issues that may also be contributing.
So this tower that was vandalized, which areas would it affect, and how long would it take to get this done, to get it fixed? It's almost 2 weeks now. In fact, prior to the tower the vandalization of the tower, there was still almost no power in some areas.
Yes, that was because of the limitation of energy given to the company. That doesn't mean that there are not little pocket of faults that are discovered and are being responded to. But the major issues that will affect energy not being given to the generation of people as it used to is either where there are major faults like this tower vandalization, or where you have a limited supply from the people that gives.
So
energy.
Now at the moment we have a combination of both.
Yes, we have
and that's why in some areas for a couple of weeks now, no power.
Yeah, more than 2 weeks. People in Rumuosi feeder, you may not understand what I mean by feeder, but there are areas that are being controlled by they call it Rumuosi feeder. Everybody on that line, I think it stretches to Rumolumeni from Rumuosi area, NTA Road, part of it, and that to Rumolumeni area.
Because I'm almost tempted to say like this looks segregational, especially when you look at the situation and feel like there are some Nigerians that are getting the power, and then some are not. It gets people to say it's not because some people don't have the resources or don't want to pay, but they're just not getting it because the discos feel these are the areas they should give first. I remember I complained to you about specifically the Tony Okocha area, the Jefta area, and I think even Eneka. I don't know if Eneka area. All those. There's usually very sufficient amount of power supply in those areas. So how come these issues never affect those areas?
Surprisingly,
how come they don't ever have power? The power generation is low; it does not affect them.
Surprisingly,
it doesn't affect them. What's happening?
Surprisingly, discos will even give supply to these people that we are referring to as those that don't have enough money than giving to those that have enough money. With my expertise, I know that those people that have enough money does not even pay so much in electricity. They don't even pay because of their names. They can use their names. My name is Lord Douglas. Don't you know me? Why are you coming to? Don't disconnect me. You can use that and pass away. And the discos are suffering. But those people that live their livelihood on supply, disco gets more energy.
So how come those people now don't have?
It's an issue of location, as I said. If anybody fall within the line 33, as against 11, that person will is a position to have more power because that line moved from one transmission station to another. So anybody that you may have heard where people say, "Oh, I'm in federal line," I'm not in federal line. There's nothing like federal line other than you fall under the line 33 that they take power from one transmission region to the other. And again, with the law that has already been promulgated, we are talking about banks, and if you starve banks of their normal they are only going to deban them and you are going to pay. So discos will make sure that they are giving banks at least first priority.
Banks,
yes.
And hospitals.
I mean, paying band A.
Band A, okay.
Band A, you give them first priority. No matter how little you get, you make sure you satisfy at least.
That's the point I'm making. So because you have to satisfy band A users, the rest of the people would have to suffer.
Yeah, that is regulation.
Wow.
And that is why we beg people to strive, as difficult as it may be, to get your prepaid meter. If you get prepaid meter, you will be left the hook of estimated bill.
I would disagree with that as well. Estimated billing, yes, but then whether you will still get constant power, I don't think
it's
that
not about
work.
constant power. We're talking about money.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about the money.
Because I don't think it will help you get constant power. And then you can be upgraded in your band or degraded without your notice.
Yes, it is not about you. It's about the health. I think about the health of the feeder. If your feeder is satisfied that it can give energy for 20 hours consistently without developing a fault, there are technical issues. We don't need to. I'm not sure the law states that this goes out to go and ask people when to give them the band and that or the grade or grade. No, but if the feeder is also failing, it is being monitored both by the NIC and even the disco.
So maybe there's a problem of overheat or it's getting too hot.
If it's failing, they say, "Oh, it's not strong enough to remain in this band. Let us reduce."
So why not fix it? Why not make it better? Why not upgrade it? Why not do something about the equipment if they notice that it's having that fault? Why still manage it and give people 2 hours, 8 hours?
Well, even while going through maintenance, it has to be degraded because it means that you will be paying more. These are system things. The moment your feeder is being upgraded to Bank A, the charges that you pay, 209 naira per unit, is already infused. So if you don't have light, or if you have light for 3 hours per day, you are being charged as 209 naira. That is the difference. No. But if you're debanned to maybe 150 naira, if you have light 3 hours, you are paying the value of the energy you have received.
My point is not the debanding. You have said that like some people have 18 hours, and if your feeder can carry for 18 hours straight, they would leave you to have for 18 hours. Yeah. So it's not because they really wanted to segregate. So some feeders cannot do 18 hours because it might get too overheated and develop faults and issues. So I'm saying, why not fix that feeder that cannot go for that long so that it can go for 20 hours and we might not need to segregate band A or B? Because the reason why we have the A or B is because of the feeders. Isn't that why some people in some feeders are seen as band B and people in other feeders or other lines are seen as band A?
It's not entirely because of feeder.
Okay.
It can also
you will tell us this when we come back after the commercial. And also let us know if the government was lying, because power generation, they say it peaked for over 5,000 megawatts. And here you are saying that there's a problem with generation. We'll find out all of that after the break and more, especially union politics. Stay with us.
For more talk, news
Thiemi, Andrew, and very much still with me in the studio is Mr. Innocent Lord Douglas, the Regional Deputy Secretary General of the Senior Staff Association of Electricity Allied Company. Before we go over to some more questions and even the phone lines, I'm sure plenty of us have questions to ask, contributions to make following the conversation. If you missed the first half, you can watch it again and share your thoughts. Go on Facebook at Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. That's the handle. You can go back there, rewind, and watch the whole thing again from the first half and let us know what your thoughts are. If there are specific questions you want me to ask, you can also drop your comments on WhatsApp on 0809 030 6416. I would open the phone lines to also give you the opportunity to ask those questions directly. Quickly now to my guest. Before the break, I was trying to I'm trying to get you to help us understand why those feeders that don't work effectively or can't stay on for long because they might develop faults, why they're not being fixed. That's one. Number two is the question about these cables that you said that the problem are bad, why some areas. How long is it going to take to fix it? And in fact, if you can tell us where are these cables and why is it taking this long to have the cables fixed?
There are technical issues, and most times they take very long time. But for instance, the punctured cable, as we said in Z4. Z4 is the station around Zimiro area. That line runs under the bridge.
Under the flyover?
Under the flyover. No, not Ogidingba. Aba Road. I think that place is CFC.
Okay.
That place is CFC, where you have the Catholic Church at the other side and you have Ojare Zimiro at this other side. Yes. So from where the transmission office is, there is an underground cable. Not one. There are so many underground cables under the bridge that pass through there down to the other side of the D line. You know, and that is where I visited that scene. That's where the issue happened, and they were trying to trace that line, and it's under the bridge. So what it means is that they are going to the experts are going to know how they are going to bring it out and fix it.
Is it going to be cracking the ground to?
It may, if there is no proper power right of way that is being built under the bridge.
Was there one?
You know, I may not know. I'm not an engineer. I may not know. But if there is none, I mean they are going to crack. But I know that is not the only area that they are having such, and they might have gained much expertise on how they manage that. But with the last information I have, I think that one has been fixed, and it's going to be powered today. You know, at least before the end of today. So that can bring succor to what we are talking about. Since this one at Rumekini is still in process, which has short supply of NTA up to Rumo Alumini. And we are having issues in the other one that is also a short supply out of some persons. If that can come up today, it can bring a little respite to people that live around there, while the people that are within the NTA and Rumo Alumini area will be praying for the...
I like that part, be praying, because yes. You guys still have to wait. I'll open the phone lines first. There's more, but let's take a few calls. We'll come back to some more questions. 0817-923-0007. 0817-923-0007. You can also call 0817-923-0002 on Facebook. This one says, ask your guest how long an area designated to a specific power band, which should have a minimum amount of power daily, but isn't receiving it before it would. How long before it would be downgraded? Sandra Dixon says the solar administrator was actually brought to. Okay, today is 30th of April. And no April salary in sight anywhere. Oh, we need our governor back. All right, that's not what the conversation is. But then, okay. They told us that privatization is the way out. Unfortunately, Nigerians are still suffering power failure, with many rural communities completely cut off. Welcome to Nigeria, where everybody pays their bills regularly, yet they classify some as Band A, Band B, and Band C. Please, what band did PhD place Diob, my 1, 2, and 3 areas?
I think Diob, my 1, 2, and 3 are having a good energy. I may not know they are banned, but I know they have more regular supply. I know that for sure.
Okay. Every part of Diobama 1, 2, 3 also.
My 1, my 2, my 3 have a very good level of energy.
All right. Magnus from our 3. Good morning. Okay. So we have somebody from our 3 now.
And I also greet your honorable guest.
Okay.
Thank you.
Quickly, I want to say that before we talk about the vandals and the estimated bill your guest is talking about, it is very important that we should establish the fact that there is sabotage in the system. And all this is coming as a result of illegalities that is happening in the system. You can imagine a situation where the officials of this, this PSN steal light from a particular, area to another area, or because of, maybe this area are not paying and they have to take the light from this area to a particular area because this area have agreed to pay so amount of money. We are seeing these irregularities in the system. We are in a situation where bills will be brought from the office and along the line on the road, the bill will change to another thing that we don't know. We have been seeing all these things. The one printed from the system and the one, they are bringing, they are not the same. So we will begin to tackle this sabotage in the system by members of this agency. We cannot be able to have a balanced system.
All right, Magnus.
I want to appeal, in as much as I know that, serving the public is somehow very, difficult. There should be a balanced system. The people themselves will be sincere to themselves because they are not sincere.
Okay.
They are not sincere to themselves.
All right.
They are sincere to themselves that they want to do this particular thing and do it well. And you will see that this will work well.
All right.
Where a community have to pay for, if your transformer is bad, you have to contribute money rather than to pay for transformer. Why these things supposed to be free? Because you are paying for it.
All right. Let's go to Ubimini quickly. Ezekiel, good morning.
Good morning, Shemi Andrew. And greetings to your guest.
Thank you.
Ishemi, I want to give your guest an information. You see, all you have been discussing, analyzing, is all centered on the urban areas. I want to let your guests know that the rural areas are also lacking electricity supply. At least we needed the partial one. What I mean by partial one, at least even if it is the last band, according to them, band A, B, C, D, the rural areas needed it. So that we know that whatever business, the less privileged in the rural areas can at least be having small issues to be handled upon themselves. I don't know if you're understanding me. Where we have, what do they call it? Barbing salon, hairdressing, weathers, and so on and so forth. So it will help the rural areas to boost their economic condition. Especially here in Ubumini, I have been shouting and lamenting that we needed what we call essential and substantial power installation in our community. Please, let them come to our aid. Thank you very much.
All right, JJ from Rumigbo, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew, and let me greet your guests in the studio.
Thank you, JJ.
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if you have heard the news, sir, that all on Aso Rock, they are trying to disconnect from your facility and get solar for over 10 billion because of the expensive nature of your services. I don't know if you have heard that news. This Brand A, Brand B, and Brand C, don't you think you're discriminating against Nigerians? The national anthem, the new one, that old one that turned new, that want to live in a country where no man is oppressed. You people are now oppressing us with Brand A and Brand B, widening the gap between the rich and the poor. How will you feel, sir, Lord, that your neighbor, your next neighbor, have light and you're seeing through the window while you're sweating like Christmas goat? How will you feel? That said, since you people took over the privatization of this business, what new have you brought in? Because I remember I paid money to repair my own transformer that served my area. Meanwhile, it's your property. Thank you very much.
Uzodima from Echie, good morning.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Please, just seems a problem we have been having in this country. Light. Every government that comes in, light problem, power problem. Can't we find a lasting solution to this power problem? Because there was a time I worked with NEPA. This the tower. They said that it was almost 60 years. I was the scaffolder that changed this tower, 2015. And they were telling me that there are some areas that they supply light. They pay them money to supply them light. That they disconnect other people. And all this problem, we are having this problem right from over 20-something years or more than 30 years, light issue. So, because this light is one of the things that develop a society or a country. You can have 24-hour power supply. See, gas and every other thing will come down. Even petroleum will come down. People will resort to electric stoves and all this. You see, businesses will boost. So please, if the Nigerian power holding cannot help, we can call experts, foreign, these investors to come and give us, because with the experience, all these are politicians, they enjoy all these things outside the country, their children. Why can't they bring this thing here? Bring experts. We pay them money. The money is there.
All right, Uzodimma, thank you. In Elele, Progress is on the line. Progress, good morning.
So, good morning, sir. Good morning, our guest in the studio. Let me begin by saying that for over 6 years now, Elele has no light. And I know that our guests in the studio have answered to that. Because I know that there is this Elele PFC and dichotomy. It goes in the court, no payment of bill. Is that why we are where we are? Is that why you people are not giving us light? Please, we want to know the update, whether that matter has been settled or what is keeping the community in darkness over 6 years. Please. Thank you, sir. I want to let me tell my children.
All right, Progress. Thank you. Let's just get your response to some of them. In fact, I would like to add one to it. Is that explanation as to why this generation thing in these power plants, how come the ones that are privately run don't ever have problem? We're always, at least, for the other ones in a month, you would see generation wahala, power this. Today you're having 8 hours, tomorrow you're having 6 hours, next tomorrow. But the other ones that serve the other areas I mentioned don't ever have issues. You don't hear, they're much more consistent. What exactly?
They are not, because at the independent power that I told you in Rivers State, if all of them are running at the same time, we'll have energy everywhere. They're not. So most times, you even get more power or a little more consistent power from the national grid, from the AFAM government-owned this thing. We have AFAM IPP. I may not know how many they are generating now and how often they are on this thing. We have OMOC. I know they came out the other day with 25 megawatts. I don't know if they are still there. How many days did they run? We have Transamade. How often are they on? These are issues that the discourse cannot control. This generation.
So what about the national generation?
Yeah, the national generation, I don't have the...
They say about 5,000.
Yeah, 5,000. That's national. 5,000. Yeah. If they bring 5,000 and there are issues, like technical issues, you cannot receive your own allocation. 5,000 is generated generally by the national. Then the IPP will add up their own to boost their own local supply. But when you have technical issues, that 5,000, the allocation given to you will not also be. But that 5,000 divided, if Nigeria is talking about 5,000 megawatts of electricity as a country, I think it's even very shameful in the first place, because even Rivers State can even have to use 5,000 megawatts if purely given to generated and given to Rivers State. So if you go through what I'm saying, it's all boiled down on the political will to do this. If gas is being devalued to naira, you will see that more players will be in this industry, and people, of course, they are in the business to make money. So nobody will try to hoard. They don't hoard energy. You can't hoard it, because if you generate and you are not giving it out, it's a waste. If you give to Disco, they must use it, because if they don't use it, they are going to pay. Any energy given to Disco has already been quantified in finance, and they have to pay. Whether you give to people, I didn't give. Why won't even you give VAT if you have enough, because you need money. The more energy you give out, the more money you come to you. Of course, you know that people pay after they have used. People don't pay before using of energy. It's only when you have used, except this prepaid meter, that you do on the go. But those that are on orthodox meters, if at all it still exists, are paying after the energy has been given to them. So I'm not sure there's anything like hoarding meter energy.
What's the problem in Elele then? One of the callers.
I wouldn't get that information. I don't work with PhD. I have the information because I'm the leader of electricity workers in this part of the country. So there are some information that are classified. If they are in court, I wouldn't know, and I wouldn't have that information. But again, they have what they call electricity work groups, or the committees in order. They can go and find out, or go to the local government. Local government can assist and see what they can go into do.
You mentioned the fact that, yes, you're in charge of the electricity workers, which brings me to tomorrow, May 1. What's the situation? I mean, we're hearing that parades will not happen in Rivers State. How is the situation? Is the situation in Rivers State affecting workers in your sector in any way?
Yes, you know that labor has a very unique structure. And that unique structure means that there is no life in any state or any chapter outside that of the National Secretariat. There is no life.
Okay, so it's the National Secretariat that dictates everything that happens.
Everything they dictate. So if National Secretariat said, look, don't go to the field, you are not going to go to the field. And if they say, do this, you are going to do that. But what is May Day in the first place? I think going to the field is when politicians, or you want to bring the politicians, the governors, come and tell our people, because it's one of the reasons. Come and tell our people what you hold for us. May Day is like a birthday for workers. Our days start counting from the first day of May till another 31st of April. So May Day is a birthday of workers. And on your birthday, you pray to God to tell you what is the future hold for me. And that is why we call politicians, governors, come and tell us. President will go, come and tell us what you have. We'll tell you what you have done. We'll tell you what you are going through, and you come and tell us. But with this uncertainty happening in Rivers State, we wouldn't want to go into contradiction or fight with whatsoever. But again, come to think of it. If you go to welcome the governor to come and address you, governor mostly address what happens to civil servants. And again, providing a favorable work environment to every other person. That does not entirely, in its entirety, address the issue of private sectors. Governors don't do that.
You say for May Day, most times the government sidelines private sector workers. It's mostly about
not sideline per se, but governors are governor of everybody, but they have their specific people that are working under them. Those are the civil service
employed by the state.
Yes, and it has little or nothing that affects the private sector. On that note, we have to think about this. We said, yes, we've been doing this over and over and over again. And government said, I'm going to give promotion. We are going to do this. We are going to do that. That had never been said. So, okay, we are going to intervene in what is happening in PhD and all those things. So this year, we said, okay, our worker, what we are going to do? If we have a letter by today, tomorrow, or there one exists that don't go and march in the field, what we are going to do, we are going to go to the PhD headquarters. We have already told the MD and all the chiefs, the leadership, come to PhD office. All the workers of PhD, come there. The MD is going to mount, and the MD is going to tell us what he holds for the workers of PhD in the next 1 year. And we are also going to tell him what we feel should be our demands that is going to do for us.
All right, let's take. I think we should take one or two more calls. Charles from Port Harcourt. Okay, let's go to Justice in Omudioga quickly. Justice, good morning.
Andrew, good morning.
Yeah, go on, please.
Okay, it's like when we talk about power supply, electricity and electrification, where we are talking about only the urban areas. What happens to the rural community? Andrew, I can remember that before now I have been complaining about lack of power supply in my community. Omudioga. By September this year, Omudioga will be without power supply for 7 years. If you ask me to rate the agencies that are in charge of electrification in Nigeria, using rural areas as a point of contact, they score the role. They are not doing well. Is it the only those in Port Harcourt that they should cater for? Is it only those that are in the urban area they should cater for? What are us that are in the village? What of Omudioga people? We are producing oil. We are contributing to government. We are rich in agriculture. But when it comes to government, we think government will do for us. We are lagging behind.
All right, Justice.
What has happened to electricity in Omudioga?
All right, I think we get the question noted. I think my guest also had said one place you can get that is your local government.
Go to local government and also assure the electricity sector that you're going to protect their infrastructure. I told you that 4 towers were hemmed down in a little aluminium. And that a tower is 450 million times 4. And we have it's a community, and that have affected everybody that lives in Emoha. If you say that it does not have energy, affected even Bayelsa State, the whole of Bayelsa State was out of supply because some persons went and brought down a tower, 4 tower, at 450 million per one, as at the last estimated cost. That's what is happening. So communities must take charge of infrastructure in their area. And again, payment is of essence. Electricity is no more authority. It's now under private sector. So the people will not give you light when you don't have when you are not paying. They will give to those that are paying. It's business. Government is no more in charge of distribution of energy. They have given
government is part of. They have some level of control with the generation.
Yes, they have level of control with generation and transmission. But distribution, I think government has 2%. State government has only 2% or thereabout. So you don't control it because the people are businessmen. They are investing in the industry and they have to make their money. They have to pay their workers. If they see that your community is hostile, our member will come to work. You beat them up. We'll shut out supply from there. If we see that you vandalize our this thing or you are not taking care of those that are working with electricity or infrastructure, we shut out energy because there is no way we are going to allow that.
Roland says Iwofe area blackout for 2 weeks now counting. Kenneth Joe says Job area, specifically my one, Ojike Street and Sister Street, suffer power supply 3 hours or 4 hours light, 24 hours. My brother, I never even see these 3-4 hours get for the past going to 2 weeks plus. Kenneth, I haven't seen it in my own area.
If you may do it
no light at Rumekini, blackout everywhere. Yes, okay, yes, I think my guest responded to that and explained why that situation is
all those areas.
No part is enjoying power supply more than the other. Epileptic power supply is everywhere. I don't think it's everywhere. You have not gone to Jefta area, Tony Okocha Road, that area. Those people,
they are suffering now. They are suffering now.
Link Road.
They are suffering now. They are suffering now.
We have to go now. Thank you very much, Lord Douglas, for your time.
Thank you so much for having me once again.
You are tuned in to
Nigeria Info.
We'll be right back after